listening to the Pillaging Podcast, companion podcast to PillagingJustForFun.com, the only Raider fan site made by Raider fans for Raider fans. Tune in every week on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Stitcher Radio. Call in and leave a message to be played on air at 408-909-PJFF. This episode brought to you by Creative Media Design Studio. Check them out at creativemediamonterey.com. It's time to pillage another podcast. I'm your host, Kenny Stapler, joined always.
What's up?
Yeah. Well, feeling good, man. I'm doing pretty good. It's been a crazy week. A lot of drama at work, but I persevere. I've been pushing back, challenging folks, and I'm making a name for myself as a bruiser.
There you go.
In my league.
I like it, man.
Yeah.
I like it.
So watch out. Kenny Stapler's at your board meeting. Watch out. I'm coming through.
Yeah, man.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. First week back with the students. There's that actual students back. Obviously, last week I was back to work, but everybody was on a break.
Yeah.
Except for me.
It's a good time to come back to work.
Yeah, it was. It was good. It was good just to kind of get back into the flow.
Yeah.
But it was good. It's good to see all the kids' faces again.
Yeah.
Had our first group, and yeah, man, they were all excited.
That's
So
good. I'm sure they
made,
were, man.
Yeah, that made me feel good. You know,
These kids love you, dude.
Yeah.
You saw the Raider projector as he walked up.
I saw that, man. I was like, oh, this is hot, man. I need to get one of these. I'm gonna shine it on my whole apartment complex, man.
So those of you listening that don't follow us on IG, I put up a video the other day, but I found a Raiders projector, lawn projector, and you put it on your lawn, and it flashes a big Raider shield floating around on the side of the house. Multiple Raider shields.
Multiple ones, man.
Because I gotta let them know.
Yeah, hey, let's not make any mistakes. No ifs, ands, or buts about it.
My neighbors, the Guerrero family, if you're local, you know who they are. Maybe even if you're not, you should know who they are. Robert the Ghost Guerrero. I think he's a 4-time world champion. Possibly more. He's held a few belts. His dad, Ruben, lives next to me and quite a few of their family members. I know some of them listen, so shout out to you guys for the support. Big Raider fans.
Yeah.
I know they're loving the projector.
Yeah, they are.
Because they can see it from their driveway. So this is for us. This is for you, too. It's for all the Raider Nation.
I'd be tipping my cap if I lived across the street.
And Ruben's doing a great thing right now. He's building a boxing gym. As you know, his son's retired, but he's not. He's still managing fighters. And they're a great family that likes to give back to the community. Yeah. The community's really held them up for a long time, and they've always given back, man. Real humble folks, real cool people. And I wanna send a shout out to Ruben. I don't know if you listen, Ruben. I know some of your family members do. But he was down there working on the gym. He's a hands-on dude. He's building it himself. You know, no doubt they got money. You know, they put in a lot of work and they deserve that. He could have just thrown cash at it, let someone else do it. No, he's down there. It's a nice silver and black gym.
Nice.
But he did have a fall. He did hurt himself pretty bad. So I know he's laid up right now. So our thoughts go out to you, man. Hope for a speedy recovery. You're a dude that's always stayed in good shape. Yeah. And we appreciate everything you do. He had mentioned to me about bringing some of the youth in that we work with to get a tour of the gym and maybe get some lessons down there and stuff. So his mind's always in the right place, dude.
Awesome.
And they got a pretty awesome fleet of cars over there too.
Oh yeah, they do. Yeah, they do.
So shout out to the Guerrero family. You guys are cool as hell.
Get well soon, man. Get well soon.
Yeah, they moved in a couple years ago on July 3rd, day before 4th of July, and that was exciting, man. My neighbors before were cool, but these dudes are Raider fans, so it's lit now. So we have to come over there and join you guys for a game sometime. I've been lucky enough to go to a lot of the games this year. Might have went to my last game last week. I'm supposed to pick up my lady at the airport on Sunday just before kickoff, but that's San Francisco, so I might slide through the tailgate this weekend and say what's up. We have a couple people coming out from across the country again. Last week we had Buckeye Raider out there from Ohio, and him and his family came out. That was tremendous. Dope. And so even if we don't know you from the blog or what have you, you follow us on Twitter or Instagram, and you're traveling from out of state, or even if you're in state and it's your first game and you want to tailgate, hit us up. Hit me up with the message. Even if I'm not at the game, I'll link you up with some good people, some good folks, and give you a proper tailgate experience. And that's what we do. Yeah. It's a big part of what we do. We say for Raiders fans, by Raiders fans. And to be honest, we're not the only site. We're not, but we are, I feel like the only site really focused on the community side of it. When I started the website, I told myself, and you guys could probably relate to this. Tell me if I'm wrong, but a news story breaks and immediately 25 websites are running the same story with different words.
Right.
And that's cool. Dude, it's a lot of work to be on that. Like these stories pop within 5 minutes of the news breaking.
Yeah, they do.
So, from Silver and Black Pride all the way to Ready to Ramble, those guys are doing great things. Those guys are grassroots and they've really built themselves up. I was able to talk to Mario from over there, and their articles are finally hitting Bleacher Report and stuff. So no disrespect to you guys. You guys are all grinding. But when I started, I thought I don't want to just be contributing to what other people are contributing out there. They're doing a good work already. So I really want this to be focused on the fans. We do fan-submitted articles. We're going to talk about the recent one that hit the site this week because I thought it's just a spectacular breakdown of our playoff chances. And that's a weekly column as we move into the playoffs. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. But that's what we're all about, man. The comment section's just off the hook.
Yeah.
3,000 comments a day, averaging. And on Sundays, it's crazy in there. But man, it's for the community, and that's why we started it. I didn't do it by myself, and if it wasn't for the community, I would be doing it all by myself. So shout out to all of you guys. We do the shout outs at the end of the show, but shout out to all the pillagers out there, and getting a lot of interaction too on Instagram, both on our profile and other profiles. It's been fun. You set up the IG. I never really messed with it before, but a lot of cool Raider fans on there too.
There is, man. There is.
Got some new listeners on there, but more importantly, folks to talk to.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm all about. So without further ado, man, let's get into this.
Let's do it.
Got some quick hits for you right now. First of all, the Refs Association complaining that right guard Gabe Jackson did not receive a suspension for his alleged hit on a referee during last Sunday's game.
Man.
What do you say, incidental, or he was trying to push a ref?
That was incidental contact, man.
Yeah.
That's some nonsense. I'm sorry, dude. I know the ref isn't as young and limber as he used to be.
Yeah.
He definitely took a tumble. But I think they're overreacting. Gabe's intentions were not to hurt somebody or push a ref, or he was just running over there.
Yeah.
Like a teammate should, trying to defend his brother, man. And ref just kind of got in the way of a fast moving big man, dude. This dude's over 300 pounds. He's not gonna just stop on a dime.
Yeah.
He kind of had to take a few steps to slow down, and unfortunately you were in the way of those steps.
Dude was clutching his chest when he went down, though. He was scared, man. So I do feel for him, but it's like the great poet Ludacris once said, move, get out the way.
Yeah. Get out the way, man. Get out the way. Hey, keep your head on a swivel, ref.
Yeah.
You should know this. It's football.
That's it. Crabtree spoke out this week on the Talib incident. That was a report that was featured on The Athletic. I believe it was an interview conducted by Vic Tafer. Tremendous website. If you can afford the subscription, do it. They're always offering deals. I think right now they got a 30% off deal going on for the holidays. So get in on that. There's a great stable of writers over there. I'm a big fan of Ted Nguyen, and he's on there. So just for that alone, for his breakdowns alone, is great. And Vic Tafer's tremendous. He's a dude that gives it to you like it is. So what was Crabtree saying? I know, he did say,
well, my grandmama gave me that chain.
I believe was one of the sound bites that we were able to get.
Yeah, man. No, first of all, he made a couple comments because apparently there was something going around talking about how he had taped his chain to his neck or whatever.
Yeah.
To assure that Talib couldn't snatch it this time, and he was like, "That's nonsense, man. I don't know where that came from. I don't know where that ridiculous thing came from because I did not tape my chain down." He's like, "I went out there," but the other thing he said was that they were trying to say that he premeditated his takedown of Talib. Yeah. And all the things that ensued afterwards was premeditated on his part, and that's why he had gotten the 2-day suspension, right? Or 2-game suspension. And he's like, how's it premeditated? He's like, I didn't premeditate nothing. If anything, what's premeditated is somebody saying the week before the game that you're gonna do something, aka snatch a chain, and then the day of you actually do it. You follow through with it. Yeah. That's premeditated. Yeah. And you gotta agree, man. That was some bitch ass shit that he did. You know, Talib did it again, and he thought, oh, I'm just gonna punk you. And I was actually really proud of Crab for doing what he did.
Yeah,
he drove him into the ground, man. He took him into the bench and drove him into the ground. You can't let these dudes just continue to punk you, man. That's you know. And everybody questioned Crab's toughness last season when it happened. They're like, oh, Crab's not a tough guy and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I think he heard people saying that stuff. He's like, all right, I'll show you.
You know, Crab tried to do the quote unquote right thing last season, turn the other cheek.
He did.
You know, you can't tolerate that 2 times in a row.
I mean, man, listen, what are you gonna do to a bully, man?
Right.
Sometimes you gotta turn around and smack a bully in the mouth.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah. And he tried, but he kept his helmet on.
He did. he did. And to be fair, Crab didn't take the helmet off on his own, which even feeds again into my point. Like, I think he did the right thing this weekend.
Right.
I know some people don't agree with that, but I was at the game and they didn't show any of it on the big Trinitron.
Yeah.
So, you know, where I was sitting, I was on that side of the field, but I was further down. I was in the closer to the other end zone, the north end zone. And so we couldn't really clearly see what happened. But we did see when Crabtree came out of the sideline, out of the scuffle,
right,
and he was walking away. And then he's walking by Talib. I'm purposefully, they both had words to exchange. And then Talib takes a cheap shot. Crab fires back pretty quick, gets into the face mask. And then he moves away even further and gets into the end zone. And, sure enough, 3 Bronco players follow him over there.
Yeah.
And so, who really instigated that? Really watch it, and you will see Crab. He did what he had to do on that block. He wanted to show him he wasn't going to go out like that.
Yeah.
People finish blocks like that weekly.
Yeah.
Sure. It was chippy. Yeah. But it happens.
I like it, man. I like that.
I liked it.
Take somebody as far as until you play until the whistle.
Yeah. Within the guise of the game, within the constraints of the game, he was doing his best to send a message, and you saw Talib's reaction, and I really feel he's the one that escalated. Dude, he's surrounded by 7 players being held down. What's his name? Mr. Pothead, Shane Ray, holding his leg and stuff, and it's like, get out of here, Greg Hammer Valentine. You ain't gonna do nothing. You ain't doing nothing. You gonna put a figure for him, my man? Come on.
Hey, man, you ain't bet that hit my heart, man. Get out of here with the sharpshooter.
Who really flew under the radar in this whole thing was Donald Penn, who got a good crack in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He did.
Don't mess with Donald
Penn.
Penn.
That's what we were talking about last season when we said, man, Donald Penn's a Raider, man. He's good. He knows how to get in some shots without being noticed, man.
So just for all the haters that said, you shouldn't do that, this and that, it's like, don't forget who a Raider is and what a Raider represents. So I posted a throwback picture yesterday, which maybe I should have waited for Throwback Thursday, but I don't follow rules, man. I don't conform. So I posted up a picture on there of Tim Brown getting into a scuffle with the Broncos corner. So it's happened. It's going to continue to happen. Don't test us because we draw the line.
Yeah, exactly, man.
And
we should. We should draw the line. If anyone was upset that Crab reacted the way he did, or he got himself kicked out of the game, man, you don't really know what's what, man.
I want to know more about Crab because corners don't like him at all. I mean, Sherman don't like him.
Yeah.
Norman was making stories up from what I can tell. What made me not believe Norman's story was him saying that Cooper was in on the action too. And then again, I don't know Cooper, but he seems like the strong silent type. He don't talk much.
Cooper don't say hardly anything, man.
Yeah, so I don't know. I think that story's baloney too. And sure, they got the best of us in that game, but I still think Crab rubs people the wrong way. Maybe it's because he's frustrating. Maybe because he's good.
You know what I think? I really think it comes down to the fact that we have 2 receivers that are really athletic, and they tend to be more on the finesse side as far as their style of play.
Yeah,
and so these guys think that they can play the tough guy, punk them around, and say things and get in their head and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm glad to see that that's not the case, man.
Yeah.
I'm glad to see that our receivers are like, you know what? I may play that kind of game, but don't get it twisted.
Yeah. With a haircut like that, you got to be tough.
You
man. Got to be tough.
You're going to be having that Bruno Mars cut. You got to come with something.
Paxton Lynch.
You're going to cry in the car.
Well, he cried on the sideline.
He cried on the bench. That's for damn sure.
And a lot of people were like, "Oh, go easy on the dude." You know what? You're a quarterback. You're the position of leadership. You can't show weakness, at least on the field.
Well, I'm sorry, man. on top of that, are you not an adult?
Yeah.
Are you not an adult?
Yeah.
You getting paid millions of dollars to play football.
Yeah.
You sitting on the sideline crying.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry too.
I'm
sorry. I'm sorry.
I
Yeah.
I don't have no sympathy for you, man. I thought that shit was hilarious. I took a picture of that right away and I sent it to you. I was like, look at this. Ain't this a damn shame?
Yeah. Yeah. We put that up on the IG too. And that picture went viral for many sources. A lot of people had that photo up.
If he was going to cry, he should have cried when he got that horrible haircut that he had on his head, man. That damn shame that he had on his head. I don't know what he looked like. He looked like homie from the Bears, from the '85 Bears. What's the quarterback's?
McEnroe?
No.
Oh, sorry, McMahon.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, same era.
He had that Bosworth haircut, man.
Same era. Both loudmouths. Both mix. Or I guess that's a bad term, but you know what I mean. Both MC names. So, you know what he does look like, and if you're listening to this right now, pull it up on your phone or your computer. Paxton Lynch looks like the old school Tampa Bay Buccaneers logo. Look that up. But there's no crying in football.
No, man.
You know?
Get out of here with that.
There's no crying in baseball either.
Ain't no one feel sorry for you, man.
And Tom Hanks told that to a team of women. Okay? Women.
League of their own.
Yeah. And those are some tough women. I'm not saying anything about women. They were tough women. And there's still no crying in baseball or football. Todd Downing, reportedly out by year's end.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, dude's learning. We know that a lot of people. There are people out there saying don't be too hard on Downing, and I half agree with that. You know, but you can't let him off the hook. I mean, Todd can't go out there and pass protect for Derek Carr. You know, we've blamed the zone blocking scheme, but you don't use a zone blocking scheme in the pass protection game. So, you know, there's people underperforming. Derek Carr is underperforming this year. Yeah. It's not all on Downing, but when you look at games like Washington, which is the one that stands out, and you're seeing corners sitting on routes before receivers can get there, you're predictable. And Downing, that's on you. So it's a mix of everything. And when you're predictable, it makes everybody else's job that much harder because now you're fighting, you know. So, you know, Downing get late. Bye, Felicia. Raiders wide receiver Isaac Whitney promoted from the practice squad. So we don't know a whole lot about this guy as far as what he's going to do in a Raiders uniform, but we do know that he's 6'2", 204 pounds. He's a specimen at the wide receiver, former USC track star. I don't know if he was a track star, but he was on the track team.
He was on the track team.
So
he was running.
He's running. And so kind of an Al Davis pick. You know, we had a few Al Davis picks on this team. I feel like some of the projects, Jihad Ward, Shalik Calhoun, those are Davis-like picks. Large, fast, looking good on paper. Take a shot on them. You know, so you know, those are two bad examples. But explaining the pick, you know, and kind of I feel like Whitney's maybe kind of fits into that mold a little bit. But excited to see what maybe he can do if he gets any snaps. You know, he could just be taking Crab or Coop's or Crab space on the roster this week. But
I think you need to bring somebody up just in case somebody gets injured in the game. Right? We're already short at the position.
Yeah.
And obviously, Crab and Coop are out this week, and Coop might be out another week. So you need to have somebody there for backup, man.
Yeah. Darian Stewart, the man that put the lick on Cooper, which was not entirely his fault. I mean, he did hit a defensive receiver, but receiver's defenseless because Carr puts the ball where he does.
Yeah, man. He stretched him out too far, man.
And we've seen him do that in the past.
Yeah.
You know, to more than just Cooper. So, and Cooper, a lot of people wonder why he put his head down. Probably disoriented. Probably didn't realize what he was putting his head into at that time. He was ducking. He was covering.
You know what? I think it's just natural reaction, man. Your natural instinct is just to kind of
it's a bang bang play.
It's just brace yourself, you know.
Everything looks like a no doubter. Oh, why'd you do that? When you're watching it in slow motion.
Yeah,
that's happening. Bang bang. So, you know, he was bracing for contact. Cooper knew he was going to get the hit. And if you think he's soft, watch that play again because he knew he was going to get hit and he went for that ball regardless. But, you know, I guess to the league's credit, he was still a defenseless receiver. You can argue about the penalty all you want, but he is getting fined $24,000. And you know what? Talib should pay that fine. So he's got a gold chain.
Yeah.
So he can call him 2 Chains now. His grandma gave him that chain. Shame on you. As you all know, Geno Smith to start this week for the Giants. Eli Manning benched. It's total chaos over there in New York, in Giants land. David Webb also reportedly going to get some snaps too if things aren't going well at halftime, which hopefully they are not going well at halftime. So that just goes to show you where New York's at right now. They're in full rollover mode. They're in tank mode. And a lot of people up in arms, even non-Giants fans. I mean, Eli Manning's pretty well respected around the league. So it's a head scratcher. Eli's upset. What did you say? They asked him about?
I was looking at that. They were asking him about the him being benched. Apparently, what he said is that he just didn't want to take part in not being prepared to play an entire game. So apparently, he had been approached about playing just the first half.
Yeah.
And they told him, you're going to play first half and Geno's going to play the second half. And he was like, I don't see a point in preparing to just play part of the game and not play the entire game. I don't know how to prepare that way. Right. So I just went ahead and said, you know what? I'll sit out. So it's kind of sad to see.
Quick hit related note, there was a billboard erected out there in Giants land, paid for by Giants fans, and it reads in Giants colors and Giants font, boys in blue, shame on you. So we had a billboard put up several years ago, so we know what that's all about. We know where their fans are at.
Yep.
And I was on Reddit this week, and several Giants fans came over to the Raiders subreddit, and they're asking the Raiders to end their misery, to end the pain. And hoping that I think one person asked that we intercept Geno Smith 6,000 times in this game. So if you want to see those comments again, head over to IG. I posted the screenshots up there. And so Giants fans, there's a lot of Giants fans out there that are actually like they support the Raiders. There's similarities between the organizations, blue collar, notorious for hard hitting, tough teams. And so there's not a whole lot of reason to hate each other. That's where they're at right now. That's what it looks like out there.
Another thing I saw too is Michael Rapp was like, he goes,
oh yeah,
Bob McAdoo. He goes, and you know what? When Geno Smith gets intercepted 6 times, I hope you go over to Eli Manning and he tells you, F you, Bob McAdoo. Yeah. I ain't going back in that damn game.
Yeah. Rappaport, man. Love him or hate him. I love Rappaport. I love me some Rappaport. He's funny. Again, Pagano's debut. Defense was noticeably improved, at least through 2.5 quarters. And we'll talk about why the shift. It wasn't entirely Simeon's fault. I mean, Simeon's a better quarterback than Lynch. We know that. Those are the obvious things. But good things are being done. Players are being moved around. Schemes are being shifted. Yeah. And it produced results. And we'll talk about why we gave up points for bringing Chase back on this week, and he's going to help us break down that new look defense, or that modified look defense, I'll say. So without further ado, it's time for Kane's Corner. So let's get homeboy on the air. How about that?
Yeah.
All right, we got Kane on the line right now. Brought to you every week by NFLShop.com. Make sure you go to PJ4F.com and click through the banner. We get a little something. Keep this pirate ship on the ocean.
If it's cool.
So Kane, man, welcome. How'd you enjoy the game last week?
It was all right, man. I enjoyed it from the comforts of my couch, but it was good. I didn't go to the game last week.
Stayed nice and dry.
But yeah, excuse me. Yeah. It was a good game, man. It's about time the defense showed up, and it makes me want. It's one of those things where you say, well, did you do this? Did you win this one for the Gipper, or did Pagano make some changes or spark some energy, or was it Crabtree and the Talib fight that sparked some energy? But yeah. Whatever it was, they need to keep it going this week because they finally showed up, man.
Yeah, they sure did. And speaking of guys that were fired up, one guy that was most down about the K&J firing, I felt flashed more than anybody on defense, was Bruce Irvin.
Yeah.
that really lit a
Absolutely.
fire. So anybody that was questioning what his motivation was going to be, it's up there, man. And whether he was playing out of anger or I think he had a quote after the game. They were asking about the dry spell of sacks and pressures, and he said guys were just getting fed up. And it was time to pin the ears back and get after it. So Chase is going to come on a little bit later and help us break down more about that, the technical side of all of that. But, I saw a lot of stunts. We saw a lot of different defensive fronts and whatnot. So all those little adjustments. It wasn't a completely different defense, but little tiny adjustments.
Yeah, they did something we were talking about too last week or a couple weeks back about moving Mac inside a little bit more too.
Yeah,
they tried that out too.
Yeah, they did.
So they were doing a little something different.
Yeah,
doing a little something different.
So if you had to pick an MVP from this last week's game, who would it be, Raider? Kane?
I'm gonna have to say it's the Raider defense.
Yeah,
the Raider defense. If I had to pick one person, I'll have to say Navarro Bowman.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but he got that interception seemed to add further spark to the defense. The defensive side of the ball. And that was the first one of the season. And we could have possibly went 16 games without an interception. So
yeah.
I'm going to have to say, if I had to name one, I want to say the whole defense, but if I had to name one person, it's going to have to be Navarro Bowman. He got the first interception of the season, and hopefully it comes in bunches like they say, and he sparks a long run of interceptions all the way to the Super Bowl.
There you go. I like that attitude. and Navarro Bowman, I believe, played every single defensive snap in that game.
Yeah, I don't think I saw him ever come off, man.
So Raiders defense, and especially Navarro Bowman.
You the real MVP.
You the real MVP.
No.
Trash can player. Who we backing up this truck for this week?
Oh man, I've been fighting with this all day because I knew you was gonna ask me this, and I can only come up with one thing, but I got a reason for why I'm gonna say it. But Michael Crabtree has got to be the trash can player this week. I mean, he should have kept his personal business off the field because I'm gonna tell you why. We're going down a stretch here. We need all our players.
Yeah.
We can't afford for somebody you feeling some type of way. And now you want to, and it seemed to me it started with the Chris Harris punching and I was listening to my boy Lincoln Kennedy earlier today, and he said it was in the family jewels.
Yeah.
So, it seems like he sparked it by hitting Chris Harris there, and then it escalated, from there. So hey, y'all can be mad at me if you want to. If I was Michael Crabtree, I would do the same thing.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
You're on a football field, not a street. This ain't the streets. This is the NFL. You're on a field. Your team needs you, and this is a team sport. It's not individual. So, Michael Crabtree, you are my garbage player, brother. And I'm sorry to do it to you, man, but you got to go in the can, big dog.
And I can feel where you're coming from because I do think there's a way for Crabtree to make this statement without throwing those swings there at the end, which I think really, really is what put the nail in the coffin, because you had your whole team run to your defense and kind of take care of business for you.
Right.
But I also feel like he didn't want to turn the other cheek. But we can go back and forth on that all day. But I think you're right, man. We're in a playoff run. And I definitely see where you're coming from. You got to stay inside yourself a little bit. So, I could agree with both sides of that argument. But at the end of the day, it cost us. And luckily, you got that suspension reduced, but it's still costing us, Yeah. Especially when you got 100.
It almost cost him.
Especially when you got a 122 game streak, and now it's broken, and you got some momentum, and you got a rhythm, and now you got to sit out a week. So I could feel where you're coming from on that, Kane.
And it was almost 2 weeks. Now, if he would have had to sit out for Kansas City, it would have really hurt. You see what I'm saying? The ramifications of it, was it worth it?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. If we lose this week because we needed another wide receiver on the field, that's why I have to put him in the trash can, man. I mean, we already short with Amari Cooper. I don't think he's going to play this week.
No.
Shy of injury, Michael Crabtree should be on the field. Definitely not from being suspended. So, yeah.
So a little bit about the breakdown of last week's game. We touched on Marshawn Lynch almost every week, and his numbers weren't incredible. 26 rushes for 67 yards. But what I like about that is even though you're not netting over 100 yards, that's 26 rushes. That's a lot of clock ticking.
Yep.
That's a lot of conversions right there. That's a lot of time where your defense is not on the field. That's playing defense and offense. And so to finally see Lynch get 20 plus, more than 22 touches in a game, which I think has only happened a few times this season. It's a good sign, especially at this time of the year, going down the stretch that, okay, he's got his legs under him. We feel good about his conditioning. We're going to ride this horse, and it's Lynch time. It's time to go. It's beast mode.
Yeah.
So for me, it shows great confidence in him. The coaching staff is like, okay, we're going to give him the rock. We're going to take the reins off now. We feel like he's durable enough. He's good to go. Were you excited to see us run the ball like we did?
Absolutely. Remember, I told you before the New England game that we need to start establishing a run game. So, I'm with that, and I think it's just taking Marshawn Lynch this long to get in football shape. Unfortunately,
yeah.
But he's starting to come alive a little bit. The line seems to be getting the zone blocking scheme down a little bit, but I think everything is just coming together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so, if we can just get this win this week. And we don't even need to forget looking at Kansas City and what they're doing. Their record is what it is. We need to win out right now. If we win all our games, even if Kansas City won the rest of their game, we'll be a wild card team, or I think we should be the sixth wild card. So right at this point, just win all the games and see where we end up at in week 17. At the end of week 17.
Another standout stat from this game. Che and Kane, net yards rushing for the Broncos was 56 yards.
Yep.
So you can say all you want to about, the defense played well because it was Paxton Lynch. Well, you know what? CJ Anderson ain't no slouch. So what do you think, Che? Do you think that was they got down early, so I guess you got to stop running the ball. But at the same time, that's probably your best offensive player, considering who's throwing. They have good wide receivers, but when you don't have anybody swell throwing to those wide receivers, they're effectively ineffective.
Yeah.
And so now you defaulted to C.J. Anderson, and we've had a hard time stopping him in the past. So, what did you think about that? Was that a true showing of what this defense can do?
Yes and no. The Broncos have been struggling to run the ball of late. C.J. Anderson, they've kind of started to go away from him the past few games too, prior to meeting us. But it's not good when your quarterback leads you in rushing yards.
Yeah, it's true.
And that's who led them in rushing yards, man. Paxton Lynch led them in rushing yards with 2 carries for 17 yards. Yeah, C.J. Anderson, man, he had 5 carries for 12 yards. That's nothing.
Yeah, nothing.
So,
5 carries, yeah.
We shut them down, and like I said prior to getting on the air, it's one of those things where you're like, yeah, the defense looked good. We shut them down pretty much all game long until Simeon came into the game. Mm-hmm. But is that because Simeon wasn't in the game and because Paxton Lynch is really just that bad? Mm-hmm. Or were we were just playing really, really good football? It could have been both.
Yeah,
could have been both.
And to our credit, when Simeon came in the game late in the third quarter, well, not late. He didn't come in late in the third quarter, but late in the third quarter, we switched our scheme to a soft cover 2. We're giving up a lot of yards underneath. We're basically in just protect mode at that point. So you can harp on them all you want, but I'm still waiting to see. I think it's we're not going to find out this weekend probably. I mean, Geno Smith can move around. He can do some things with your defense. He's definitely not all-star caliber player, but We'll find out in KC what this defense is all about first, and then of course when we move on to Dallas, who's struggling but they can still hurt you, weapons there, and then ultimately against Philadelphia. So, right. What's your thoughts on this defense right now, Kane? Do you think? I mean, obviously we just said Paxton Lynch factored into their success this last weekend, but do you see these Pagano changes maybe having a lasting effect? I know we've talked about it throughout the season. That this defense is better than it looks, has more potential than it looks, I should say. It's held us in some of these games until it couldn't hold up anymore for all the minutes they were on the field. But how do you feel? What's your confidence, Kane, in this defense going down the stretch?
Well, I mean, if if the defense playing well on Sunday was an indication that Paxton Lynch was on the field and Denver's offensive line is shabby as it is, and they just don't have any type of offense to get going against any defense. With that being said, I don't know. I won't know until we play Kansas City in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I'm just keep it real.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm still. The jury is still out.
Yeah, we're gonna get more of the same this week, man, because the Giants they got so many injuries on offense.
Yeah. They're in full tank mode. They got no offensive line. Look for Khalil Mack to pad his stats a little bit this week. I fully expect us to get at least one more interception this weekend. If not, come on, man.
Right.
Exactly.
So that's a good segue into this Giants game. We'll talk about that just a little bit. What's your score prediction, Raider Kane, for this Giants game this weekend?
I want to say 28-7.
Yeah. What about Chiche?
Yeah, I say.
You say 28-7?
That's what I said. Yeah, 28-7.
Yeah. What about you, Che? Where you at?
I think the 28 is a pretty good number. I'm gonna go 3.
28-3.
Yeah.
Oh wow. You guys are betting heavy. I mean, why not though? Why not? Why not?
It's the 2-9 Giants, man.
Yeah,
Come
man.
on, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They don't have anything, man. There's no Beckham out there. Eli ain't gonna play. All right. Shepard's been injured too. He's been out. He was just out last week, I think.
Yeah.
So he's not healthy. He might play, but he's not healthy.
Right.
The best thing the biggest weapon that they have on offense right now is Ingram. Evan Ingram, man, the rookie tight end.
Yeah.
And teams are keen in on him. So I mean, there's not a whole lot that he can do just by himself. He has to get the ball thrown to him anyways.
When you got a struggling quarterback, the first thing you take away is the tight end.
That's it, man.
The first thing you take away
That's
is
it.
that
And if that's the only thing that they have, even more reason, man. Right? So
Yeah.
I really
We've been playing tight ends well too, so
exactly.
that shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah.
Are you going out to the game this weekend, Kane?
No, I'm not.
Okay. I might. I might slide through. I know we got Tuck Rule Full coming out there this weekend. I can't go to the game, but I might slide through the tailgate just to say what's up. So you gonna be watching from home again this weekend?
Yeah, I got some stuff to do. I'll be out of town this weekend, so I'm not gonna be around
Got you.
for the game. And yeah, so that's and I'm not gonna be at the Dallas game either.
Me either. I think I went to my last game of the season last weekend. So I'm going to the KC game next week, and then I'm thinking about possibly if we're in contention, buying a ticket down to that LA Chargers game. And I never been out to an away game. So if I could come up on something cheap, I don't really care where I sit. I just want to be in that stadium with the rest of Raider Nation.
There you go.
As we take over. You touched on it a little bit already, Raider Kane. The postseason run. So, where do you have us at the end of this season? Do you feel like we're going to be hopefully playing first place in the AFC West in 2 weeks? Do you feel like we have a legitimate shot of winning this division? What does your gut tell you? Where are we going to finish this year at? Are we going to make the playoffs?
Honestly, I think we will make the playoffs now. Because you know what? I think we're gonna make the playoffs because the players themselves will be embarrassed if they don't.
Yeah.
This team, yeah. I mean, if you got any pride, you need to make the playoffs. Even if you lose one game, you need to make the playoffs. This team came into the season with so many high expectations, and you fumbled right out of look, game 3, you've been stumbling ever since. So you're just now getting things. Well, we still don't know because, like we said, Denver ain't just lighting the world on fire right now. So, like I said, man, I think we're going to make the playoffs. I think the team, the players know that if they don't, it's embarrassing. It's just embarrassing if you don't make the playoffs. And then the Chiefs are totally on a free fall right now. Everybody, the league has figured them out, and everybody's playing that zone defense against them now, and they can't figure that out. So I don't see them beating the Jets this weekend. And I'm not saying that because I'm a Raider fan.
Yeah.
Josh McCown is playing good ball right now. Josh McCown is playing really good football right now. he's had a 300. He had two 300-yard passing games the last 2 weeks. So I don't think the Chiefs at this point can beat the Jets, and that's I'm serious. Yeah. So I think in 2 weeks we'll be playing the Chiefs for first place.
Yeah.
That's where we will be able to judge this team, because the Chiefs are going to come to play especially if they lose this Sunday.
Oh, they'll show up against us for sure. They're going to show up against us.
Oh,
yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
Everybody shows up against us. So it is what it is. But yeah, I think we'll make the playoffs, and I hope we win the division.
Yeah.
I hope we do too. And when a couple of weeks ago, I was thinking, do I even want to go out to KC at this point? And I thought, you know what? At the end of the day, it's still a Raider Chiefs game. And now I'm going out to a game that's potentially going to decide first place in the AFC West, at least for the moment. So I have the Jets in that game too, and I don't think it's far-fetched. The Chiefs don't fare well playing in New York. I was watching the game the other week I watched the Patriots game at Silver and Black 666's house, and we were watching the Chiefs game. They were saying that the Chiefs have never won a game against the Giants in New York ever. I think they're 0-15 out there now. So, we heard that. Yeah, we heard that stat in the third quarter. We're like, oh, let's go. We started rubbing our hands together. We're like, yeah, we'd like to hear that. So I do have the Jets in this game. They are not the team that we played in week 2. They really bounced back.
Yeah.
They kind of
I think we lit a fire up under them, man. I honestly think Marshawn Lynch dancing on the sideline before the game was over with in the third quarter lit a fire. They've been winning. They've been playing good ball ever since.
They have been.
They almost beat the Patriots, man.
I think they sure did. They sure did, and they stand in their games real close. They might lose them, but they lose them by close points.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So
here's an interesting breakdown. See if you guys can follow me on this. Right now, the Raiders are at 5-6. The Chargers are at 5-6, correct? Mm-hmm. And the Chiefs are at 6-5. So let's say the Chiefs win. Let's say the Chiefs lose this weekend, and then they fall to 6-6. Mm-hmm. The Raiders win this weekend. We move up to 6-6, and the Chargers win this weekend, and they move up to 6-6. Yeah. Okay, and then the week after that, we beat the Chiefs. We move to 7-6. They be 6-7. They'd immediately fall to third place in the division, and the Chargers win. They'd be 7-6 as well. And
they'd be in first because they have the win over us.
They have the win over us, but
they beat us.
But
yeah, that's right.
But I think we actually have a better divisional record against them at that point if we beat the Chiefs.
Right.
So I think actually we would
we'll
still
be 3-2.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
if we beat the Chiefs, we'll be 3-2.
It's really interesting. So I teased this earlier on. Go to pj4f.com if you're not already there and check out the Playoff Pontificator Week 13 breakdown. Tuck Wolf did an amazing job. This guy's a scientist, like in real life, like he's a professor. Like, I'm not just saying like because the article was good. Like he really is. The guy's got away with numbers, and he breaks down statistically every possible playoff scenario and the percentage, the statistical chances of us getting into the playoffs based on the different scenarios playing out, and it's real thorough. So go check that out, especially if you're a stat nerd. You're gonna love that article. I'm not pimping it out just because it's on our website. He sent it to me. I was like, damn, this is good. He does this every week, but it's exceptional. You got to check it out. There's a lot of websites that do this, and they kind of like this is who's playing who, and this is who we think is going to win. This is what could happen. No, this guy drills down. So you read the article, right, Kane?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's good stuff.
Well, I read it every week.
Yeah, it's good stuff. So go check him out. Go prop him up. Again, he's just another fan, man. He's a guy that comments on our site, not a pro writer, but you know what? He should be. I spent about 10 minutes editing that thing. I slapped a couple pictures in there, a couple links in there. Everything else is good to go.
There you go.
So great job out there, Tuck. So yeah. Anything else you want to add before we get out of here, Raider Kane?
Go Raiders, and you can follow me on Twitter at KaneMT6. And again, like I want to reiterate one more thing before I get out of here. The Raiders need to win these next 2 games, bro. This is a critical 2 weeks. Like they really lost my faith in these last 5 to 6 weeks we've been playing.
Yeah.
Yep.
We have got to win these next 2 games to just save faith, to just keep how do I want to put this? To keep your pride, to keep your rep, to keep your cred. You need to win these next 2 games, Raiders.
Yeah.
So that's what I want to end this with today, man. We need to win these next 2 games.
Pride and poise. If those 2 words mean anything to you, Raider players, let them ring loud these next 2 weeks.
Yep.
The one thing I have to say about this team is when we have our when we're all gassed up and we're feeling ourselves, we're in the building and we're feeling ourselves, we don't play well. This team gets a little bit in over its head. We don't play well. But when this team has its back up against the wall, I like this team against adversity. We saw it on Thursday Night Football against the Kansas City Chiefs this year. One of the most amazing games I've ever seen as a Raiders fan.
In person,
no doubt. And that's where we're at right now. Backs are against the wall, and it's time to come out fighting. Kane, as always.
Absolutely, I agree.
Kane, as always, it's great having you on. We really appreciate your takes. You keep it real for Raider Nation. This is Kane's Corner, brought to you every week by NFLShop.com. We're up against the break right now, and we're going to talk to you again next week, man. Thanks again.
Yeah, man.
Hey, thanks for having me, Che and Kenny. I'll talk to you guys next week, man.
Word up. Go Raiders.
Go Raiders.
Go Raiders.
Yeah, man. Love the energy, love the passion, man. Raider Kane's solid dude. Solid dude.
Hell yeah.
You know, so at the time, the last time I seen him at the tailgate, didn't know it was going to be the last time I'd see him at a tailgate this year, but I hope to get together with them in the offseason. We're making plans. Possibly I know him and Dutch Raider and I think one other person, 666, planning on going out to the Denver game and hooking up with 303 Raider. I believe actually left us a message. He came on the show last week. He lives out there in Denver. I want to go out to that game next year too. We'll see what the date is and if I can pull the finances together. Maybe you can join me too, Che. That'd be pretty cool. I'm gonna try to hit all these AFC West stadiums in the next couple of years before we leave Oakland. So yeah, man. Anything you want to talk about before we move on?
Nah, man. Let's get into the break so we can talk to Chase and see what he's got for us, man.
Yeah, man. Coach Chase about to come
Coach
on
Chase.
there. So yeah, man. We out here. Go Raiders.
Peace.
Kenny, 303. Happy Thursday. Wow, man. What a great win. A win is a win. Carlos, good. Very efficient. That was his most efficient, best game statistically against the Broncos, believe it or not. Also the fact that the running game as a combination between Lynch, D-Wash, and Jalen Richard, they combined for over 100 yards. Now the per carry for Lynch wasn't great, but the attempts, we need to be more balanced. And the fact that we were able to still win that game without our 2 top receivers, I think bodes well. Like the fact that Mac moved around on defense. I hate it when we go to that prevent shit. That stuff sucks. So keys for this weekend. I mean, New York's flying across town. On paper, it looks really weak. They benched Eli Manning. I mean, we still don't have Cooper or Krabs, but New York's run defense is not good. In fact, they're almost ranked last in the NFL. So I think you're going to see a heavy dose of a lot of runs from all 3 of our backs, and then some timely passes from Carr. And I think you're going to see Jared Cook this week too, because New York cannot defend the tight end. So 6-6, and then it's the home stretch, the last 4, where we got to go at least 3-1 to have a chance to win the division. So, anyways, I'm out. Raider Nation is the best. Have a great weekend.
And we're back in the saddle again. Yeah, we had to take a little break right there, take care of our Constitution and get right back to business. So you just heard from some of our callers. I've been taking time to check the hotline. It's running late, so we're kind of moving straight through. But we'll let them stand on their own and speak for themselves. But another man who speaks for himself is our boy Chase. So without further ado, let's get right back to our segment. We haven't had a chance to talk to him for a little bit. This is Chase on tape. How you doing, Chase?
Hey, I'm doing great, man. Feels good to be back after another win.
There you go.
Yeah, we had to hold off for a W to bring you back on.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, man,
Exactly.
we know you've been busy. It's a busy time of the year, so we're grateful to have you back on this week. We know the film breakdown takes a lot of time and a lot of patience. So let's get right to it, man. A lot of people talking about the defense this week. Obviously, there's a lot of heat there. K&J gets fired. Pagano steps up. Everyone's waiting to see what it's going to look like. Maybe not a true test facing Paxton Lynch and the mighty Denver Bronco offense with your crybaby quarterback and all. But still, even the layman can see we were doing different things on tape. And a person that's far from a layman here, Chase, can you help us break down what these new wrinkles in the defense are? What did you see from Sunday's game that stood out to you?
Yeah, man. Well, it certainly is the hot talk right now in Raider Nation, right? Everyone was waiting to see what we'd be doing differently.
Yep.
And I think it's important. I had some friends talking to me about the different coverages we were doing and all this and that. I think it's important to take into account it's just been one game, right? So we don't fully know what the true changes in our defense are going to be, because we don't know what was scheme specific for just the Broncos and what's truly been changed or altered under Pagano now. But that being said, I think the biggest thing that jumps off tape in terms of differences is our front seven.
Yeah.
It looked like we were giving the Denver Broncos a lot of different things to look at and try and register before the snap. And that helped lead to a lot of, I think we had 5 sacks. That helped lead to at least 2 or 3 of those sacks. Was really just, it was good scheming, good movement from the defensive line and from the linebackers. And we did a good job of confusing the offensive line, which really is a lot different than how we were with our front seven under Kenny Norton.
So I know that they talked about moving Mac around. Where did you see Mac lining up on this defense on Sunday? Did you see him inside? I know he played a little bit of left outside linebacker. He wasn't strictly on the defensive end.
Yeah, that was a big part of it. Mac was moving around. He was inside a bit. He was where we've normally seen him. What jumped out to me, and maybe I need to study the defense a little closer to see how different this is from what we've done under Jack Del Rio and Ken Norton, obviously. Mm-hmm. But I also noticed that it seemed like we moved Mac a little further outside. It seemed like he was lined up just a little further out off that edge, allowing him to get a little more momentum, get a little more speed and power going, and it helped get him one of those 5 sacks that we got defensively this week.
And Bruce Irvin was all over the field. I saw him getting back there, getting pressure. We were kind of wondering what his motivation was going to be, considering his comments regarding the Ken Norton Jr. firing. But he seemed to be the most fired up of anybody else on that defense.
Yep.
So did you see what they were doing to get him in space and get him to the quarterback? Was it a increase in blitzes? Was it stunting? What was going on for Bruce Irvin on Sunday?
There wasn't a ton different from with what Bruce was doing, really. I think he was kind of doing what he's been doing for the most part since he's been here in Oakland. Mm-hmm. But that being said, one of the big differences, again, we had a lot of movement going on inside.
Yeah.
And I think that sort of helped free him up for good one-on-one matchups on the outside. And he was able to he was able to harass the left tackle and get around the edge, and I don't know how much of that was, I don't think much was different with Bruce Irvin in terms of scheming. I just think what we were doing differently along the line just helped open up a few more opportunities for him overall.
And what I did see is that we had some, we talked about last week, I believe it was, Pagano when he was in San Diego. They ran a 3-4, but even he said himself, it's not a true 3-4. It's a modified 3-4. It's a hybrid of the 4-3 and the 3-4, which we saw.
Yeah.
And, I believe that Bruce Irvin was used as a pass rusher last year, more so than he has been so far this year. He's been in pass coverage quite a bit. He's been on tight ends quite a bit. But moving into that 3-4, you got 4 linebackers on the field now, which allows a guy like, I know who you want to talk about is Morrow, get back there into pass coverage and do some things things himself. So you were telling me, you were texting me earlier today that Morrow stood out to you. So what is it that you wanted to talk about?
Yeah, well, this kid Morrow is really fun to watch, I think. And, you can't have too high of expectations ever for an undrafted rookie.
Right, he did give up a touchdown.
Well, remember, it wasn't a touchdown.
Oh, that's right.
In fact, he gave up a big catch, but you know what? He was in position to make the tackle at the 1 yard line,
right.
which helped our defense get our first pick of the season a couple plays later. So in a way, he almost gave up a touchdown, but he was still in good enough position to make the play. And I think if you watched that play, the first time we played the Broncos, they had a nice little wheel route, scored their first touchdown against us. And they almost did it again this time around with, was it Booker? I think it was Booker who caught this little wheel route, which is really tough for inside linebackers to cover.
Yeah.
But he got beat. He gave up the catch, but he was there. And he really flashes a lot of athleticism. He moves around well. He plays hungry. He made a couple plays that were really impressive to me. Another play he made early on in the game is he helped sniff out a screen pass, and he tackled it for a couple yard loss easily.
Yeah, and that's been our Achilles heel for a while now, is defending that screen pass. Yeah. So I was really excited to see that. And then we still can't really run a screen to save our souls. The screen, man, in Oakland, it's been a problem. But Morrow, man, shout out to you for helping be a little bit of the cure there. Now, so obviously people are saying, a lot of the success comes because of Paxton Lynch, and what's helping them make that point is that when Simeon entered the game, they seem to be moving the ball better. Obviously they put up 2 scores fairly quickly there. What did you see that was allowing them to move the ball? Were we switching things up? I read a little bit from Ted Nguyen, who said that we went into a soft cover 2. Is there any credence to that? Did you see that, or was it just simply Simeon's a better quarterback than Paxton Lynch? Obviously, that's some of it, but what's your gut feeling on that?
Well, really, it's a combination. The Raiders certainly sort of backed off. We backed off in the second half. We were fine with giving up, little completions as long as the clock was moving. We were able to build up a good, solid lead early. So I think we were giving Simeon opportunities, but you know what? He was making some good throws as well. So it really was a combination. And the true question that everyone's been asking, if Simeon started that game, what would have happened?
Right.
And to be honest, I'm not sure, because Paxton Lynch, he was not standing in there and delivering, he wasn't standing in the pocket and delivering the throws into tight windows. He was kind of moving around a bit and hesitating. He missed a couple open throws as well. I don't know if Simeon would have made those mistakes. I think Simeon's the type who would sit in the pocket and at least try and force the ball in. And, so I'm really, I think it's a good combination between both, but, Simeon didn't play that bad. He looked pretty good back there.
Yeah, he did. I think he's got a future there in Denver. I'm not saying he's going to be a world beater, but he's okay. I mean, the kid's okay. We make him look real okay.
Yeah,
we make him look a lot better than some other teams.
Yeah, so we'll see. I'm not a. I already hear the pitchforks coming to my door right now.
Well, I think he's got a future because there ain't nobody else there that does.
True that.
Right.
True that. So we're going into New York against Geno Smith and the mighty New York Giants. Gut feeling on this game. Is it the first time we put together back-to-back wins since week 2 in the NFL this season?
Yes.
Obviously, this is a gimme, right, Che? This is a gimme game?
I don't know that it's a gimme, but this is a win, man. This better be a win.
Well, this is these next 2 games are really interesting because sort of the MO for our team this year has been when it's time to make a statement, when it's time to show that we're the same Raiders as last year, in fact, maybe even better. We've been putting up these dud games. After our first 2 wins, we get the big stage on Sunday Night Football, and we get just totally embarrassed, which helped lead to all this. I don't even want to bring up the controversy,
yeah.
But and then you have a big game against Buffalo where we have a chance to beat the team ahead of us in the wild card race, and we get just flattened. We get flattened in Mexico in front of an international audience. Our MO has kind of been, when it's our opportunity to make a true statement, to truly get our foot back in the door, we take a big step back. Yeah. And, this is really our last chance. These next 2 games are so big, and this is our final chance to make that push to get back in the playoffs.
Do you see us in the playoffs this year, Chase?
Oh, man. If we are a playoff team, I don't know that we're going to make much noise in the playoffs.
Yeah.
But yeah. Who wants it in the AFC right now? I mean, the whole AFC West is pretty even. Obviously, the Chargers are pretty hot.
Yeah.
But the Ravens, Buffalo, it's all pretty middling. It's average talent. Yeah. And we could definitely compete with average talent. We just got to actually start doing it.
Yeah, we got to put it together. I'm looking at the score right now of the Thursday night game, and it looks like that game finally broke out into a football game. The Cowboys win 38-14. As you know, D-Mac, Darren McFadden retired this week. Somebody on the blog was asking if they hung his star up there in AT&T Stadium. And in fact, they did, but it kept falling down. So shout out to D-Mac. McFragile, McFall down, whatever you want to call him. For about a year and a half, he was like the top running back in the NFL, and he was an Oakland Raider during that time. Shout out to Hugh Jack City for that. He, a thing that he did when he was here in Oakland, which I would like to see our coaches do more of, is he sat down with players and asked them what they needed to succeed. And D-Mac was one of those guys. At that time, we had been running zone blocking under Tom Cable. Mm-hmm. And D-Mac wanted to run power. So we switched to power. Boom, number 1 rusher in the NFL. Yeah. And eventually got hurt, but he was a punishing runner when he was at the top of his game.
He was a downhill runner, man. Yeah. He wasn't the kind of guy that hopped around and found the hole. You need to just tell him where the hole was going to be, and he just wanted to go full speed downhill.
Yeah.
In that direction.
Yeah.
And when that happened, he had a lot of success. He did until he got injured.
I think sometimes coaches need to get out of their own way and find out what it is to put players in positions to succeed. And that's definitely going to be a big part of this weekend. Even though we're going against the New York Giants and before they benched Eli Manning, and even still a little bit now, I feel like this, because of everything you just said, Chase, this has the makings of a trap game. And I mentioned that on the blog, and they said 5 and 6 teams don't have trap games. Mm-hmm. And I was like, it's true. That's true. And I'm not doubting this team. By all means, we should beat the Giants, but isn't that what makes a trap game a trap game? Yeah. Luckily, we're not on the road. And Go ahead.
Let's not forget we're without 2 of our best playmakers on offense as well.
Exactly.
So,
which brings me back to the point is we need to put players in a position to succeed. We don't have our top players. So now you're in a position of playing to strength. You have to. You can't expect Holton and Cooper and Patterson to come in and replicate the production of Cooper and Crabtree. Now you're looking at these guys, okay, how do they fit into our scheme? Who else do we have here? What are the weapons? How do we get Cook involved? Where's Smith at in this? Does Clive Walford make an appearance in this game? So really looking at, okay, what am I working with and how do I make the most out of it?
Right.
And that needs to be the focus in Oakland this week.
Yeah, certainly. I think we're really going to have to pull off a team win here. Our defense is going to have to do what we would hope they could do against the Geno Smith-led offense.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And our offense is, just like you said, we're going to have to find a way to be creative, change things up a little bit. Obviously Patterson or, of course, not Seth Roberts. Those guys aren't going to be making the clutch 3rd down and 10 grabs at the chains.
Yeah.
They're not going to be doing that. That's really probably not going to be the way we attack it this week, or at least I hope not. We're going to have to stretch the field. We're going to have to get creative. And we're going to have to really attack the Giants' weaknesses and make it count. But I think we'll definitely be leaning on the ground game going into this week. Don't you guys?
I like to see another 26 carries by Lynch this week, and hopefully with bigger production in the yards this week, because obviously he didn't produce yards as far as it goes with his yards last week, but his running and all the carries that they gave him, especially early on, I think it led to later success.
Right.
As far as the total at the end of the game, it's not that impressive, but I think his running was a lot more effective later on as the game wore on.
Everyone who's been down on Marshawn Lynch, and there are these Raider fans who are down on him, and just NFL fans who say he's been so disappointing, this and that. He's been doing everything we needed him to do. Yep. I mean, we signed him to be a short yardage guy.
Yep.
To run between the tackles, run people over. And I mean, check Pro Football Focus. I just saw the other week that he's one of the toughest running backs in the league to take down on first contact.
Yep.
Right? That's what we wanted. That's all we needed from Marshawn Lynch. And then let Richard and Washington do the rest.
I really like the pop that Richard has when he gets the ball. He shoots to that line real quick. He's a great change of pace back. And we've been calling for this for several weeks now, is get those guys involved in the passing game. And this is a perfect opportunity to do that this week.
Yep.
And speaking of, I guess, Lynch in the running game, another opportunity is you got Damon Harrison, the Pro Bowl defensive tackle for the New York Giants. He's not practiced all week. He's not going to play this weekend. And this is a great opportunity. He's the number one run stopper in the league. Most people you ask, so he's not there.
Yeah,
that's a great void in that defensive line. And don't get it twisted. This is actually a pretty good New York Giants defense. Yeah. We're overlooking that. That's their greatest asset this weekend.
That's the best part of their team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So wear them down, especially now it's getting cold. It's not be freezing cold in Oakland. Let's be real. But as we move forward down the stretch here, we're going to be playing some cold weather games. Marshawn Lynch, he's hard to take down. Third quarter, defenses are tired of tackling that dude, and everything hurts more in the cold.
Always.
Let's get this guy rolling right now because we might need him in Philadelphia, right?
Yeah. No, definitely. We're going to need him in Philadelphia because we already know that we're not very good in cold weather. Yeah. Derek Carr tends to struggle in cold weather, so if you can lean more on the run, then do so.
And even before, I don't want to get ahead of it, even before Philadelphia, we got KC. That game's going to be cold. Got to get Carr's monkey off his back in KC, and Marshawn Lynch just might be the guy to do that.
That's it, man. That's it.
Is there anything else you want to touch on, Chase, before we get up out of here?
Well, I just think it's going to be interesting to keep an eye on the defensive scheming as we move forward. I think after we get a couple more games into Pagano's stint as our D coordinator, then we'll really be able to see what new wrinkles he's been phasing into the defense. I think the player that benefited the most on defense this last week with the coaching change might have been Autry. Danico Autry had 2 sacks, and both sacks came because offensive linemen weren't exactly sure who they should even be looking for.
Yeah, I think he got cut loose. He might have gotten cut loose one time by one of the offensive linemen. They kind of were like, they showed the replay and they slowed it down, and the guy looked at Autry, and then he kind of looked to his right and cut Autry loose, and he just kind of went right down the middle and got that sack.
Yeah, that kind of happened twice. His first sack, we show a double A gap blitz, and we have 2 linebackers right up on the line, sort of creeping up. And then right when the ball snapped, they back up, and yes, Autry, I think it's the right guard, Denver's right guard. Yeah. He took his eyes off Autry. He didn't even know who his assignment was.
Right.
And his second sack, this 53 Bowman is creeping up, showing like he might blitz over the middle, which holds the center after the ball is snapped. And then 53 drops back into coverage, and the right guard assumes he has the center's help. And again, Autry has a pretty easy pass to get back to the quarterback. So as long as we can keep mixing it up like that, it's going to open up a lot of opportunities for our defensive linemen.
Definitely.
We appreciate having you on every week or most every week. We've missed you the last couple weeks, and we hope to be able to talk to you again next week.
After a win.
Yeah, man, definitely. I love coming on, and I really appreciate it, and I look forward to next week.
Same here, man. Take care. Have a good weekend, and go Raiders.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, man. Go Raiders.
So, Che, did you learn anything?
I think we need to get better, man. We need to just keep winning, man.
Do you feel smarter?
I feel a lot smarter, man. I feel so educated. Man.
Let's move on.
Let's.
This is your injury report, and we already kind of gave you a little bit of this. David Amerson limited in practice this week, which is actually good. Good sign. He's back on the practice field. I don't know if you guys watched the Jets-Raiders game last year, but Amerson had an incredible hit on Geno Smith, so I think they told him, hey,
Geno's coming.
Let me get my shoes on.
You know what? I think I feel better.
Let me lace them up. Yep. Feeling good, coach. So welcome back, David Amerson, coming back from foot injury. Hopefully he's ready to go. You don't want a corner out there with a hobbled foot. That's the last position. But I know this coaching staff's pretty shrewd on injuries, so if he's out there practicing, I feel pretty good about it. Obviously, Amari Cooper out this week. He has not participated Wednesday or Thursday. I don't know where he's at with the concussion protocol because, as you know, he's suffering with an ankle. He is listed here with the concussion, so I'm assuming he's not passing the protocol right now if that's what's listed. It seems pretty obvious, but what I'm most concerned about is the ankle. Not to say the concussion's no small thing. We hate to see that. But, by 7 to 10 days, he should bounce back from that. But the ankle could be a lingering thing. It was reported after the game that he was walking around pretty good in the locker room, but I saw a tweet today by Raiders Beat that he is actually limping around. So we don't know. But the ankles, you can sprain your ankle and it can hurt you for a couple of days and then all of a sudden it's fine, or it could be something really bad. It could be a minor tear in there. We don't know. Again, of course, the Raiders tight-lipped, as always, on injuries. So fingers crossed that Amari Cooper can at least return to the KC game. Yeah. I'm still calling that a long shot right now.
I think so, too. I feel like we might be seeing Coop out for a couple games, man.
Seems that way.
So,
Gabe Jackson still struggling with his ankle. Limited, though, was there in practice. Corey James' knee did not participate Wednesday, limited on Thursday. He's been struggling for a while. That happened in the Baltimore game, right?
Yeah,
because we lost a couple guys in that game. Him and Marquell Lee. Cordell Patterson, struggling with a hip, was limited Wednesday and Thursday. We need him. I'm sure he's going to go. Irvin did not participate, non-injury related. Mack, again, did not participate, non-injury related. We saw this last week after the firing, and they said that had nothing to do with the firing, which seemed, I was skeptical at the point. But this could be a rest day.
Yeah, it's just, this is the second half of the season, man. You gotta get. Sometimes you gotta take a little bit of time to heal up a little bit.
Lynch also did not participate. I did see that was purely rest, and that's why he was resting too today. So he was not listed on Wednesday, DNP today. I'm pretty sure he's going to be fine. Hopefully they practice tomorrow. Lynch is not a guy that's going to need practice every single day of the week. That guy can go. Yeah. So for the New York Giants, we already kind of told you Damon Harrison with an elbow. He's out for the game at this point. Jonathan Casillas, linebacker, neck wrist injury, DNP Wednesday and Thursday, looking like he's out. Limited after a DNP on Wednesday. Limited today was offensive lineman Justin Pugh, and linebacker BJ Goodson was limited both Wednesday and Thursday, and making their reappearance, it looks like, is linebacker Calvin Munson and wide receiver Sterling Shepard, who were both full go Wednesday and Thursday. But as you know, as Che already reminded you, Shepard's pretty dinged up. That whole wide receiver core pretty dinged up right now for the New York Giants. So I see you.
I see you.
I was going to pull that sample, but you're doing a good job. We're just going to keep rolling with that.
Let's just roll with it, man.
Yeah. Live sound bites, courtesy of Che. So this week's ICU comes from Stabler, longtime poster, much loved poster on the website. This was about an hour and a half ago. He says, Raiders beat the Giants. Jets at home beat the Chiefs. Chargers beat the Brownies. A three-way tie at 6-6 by the end of Sunday. So I wanted to go into depth more about the end of the season run and the scenarios, but we kind of already mentioned that. I'll put the carriage before the horse a little bit there. We had an opportunity to talk about that, so we did. But I like the way you think, Stabler. The Chargers, man, they're going to beat the Browns most likely. Yeah. But Gordon returns this week. And Jackson says he's going to put him in a lot of different positions and give him as many opportunities to make plays as possible. If you can get to Rivers once, twice, he starts going downhill pretty fast. Throwing the helmet, yelling at wide receivers, crying on the sideline. This sounds crazy, but it's not out of the question that the Chargers can beat these guys. I'm really saying that right now. Deshaun Kaiser was the highest rated quarterback last weekend. I think he was actually not the highest. He was top 3 with an 84 passer rating, which
Really?
sounds incredible, but it was up there. So maybe I'm wrong. You can fact check me if you want to, but I did just read that as I was headed into the house here, and I was kind of like, really? So I would really like that upset right now.
It would be awesome, man, but it's still the Browns.
Dude,
man.
I know it's a long shot, man. But
I did see. I think Duke Johnson had himself a game last week.
Mm-hmm.
He started off the season as like the backup running back, and he's really become their mainstay in the backfield. Crowell hasn't had a very good season. So we'll see, man. But I think that they don't have a whole lot on offense. So that's what makes it really difficult to think that they can really pull this game out. I know they've been pretty decent on defense, but Myles Garrett, I don't know. I think he's still injured, right? He might be done for the season. So who knows? I don't know. If they pulled it out, that'd be great, man. That'd be wonderful.
They got to stop both Melvins, the double Melvin.
Yeah.
The double Melvin. So, guys, you might have had yourself a good little game last weekend, but you got Melvin and Bosa coming at you, and that Chargers defense going to have their hands full. That's for sure. But I'm just saying, man, if there was any time for an upset, it's this Sunday. If the Browns can beat the Chargers, that could send a ripple effect through that team.
Yeah.
As good as the Chargers can be, as much potential as there is there, they just don't strike me as a resilient team, man.
I don't think so. I think I have to agree with you. I mean, we haven't seen anything to that effect in the past.
Yeah.
If this is a game that they somehow find a way to lose, I think it can have like an effect on the rest of their season.
Yeah.
Because right now the ball is rolling the way that they want it to go. They're moving in a positive direction. If they get a loss to a Browns team who is not really at the top of the league, I think it could have long-term effects on them mentally. We know how mental Rivers can be at times. So hopefully that's the case, man. I mean, I know that a couple weeks back we were talking about let's hopefully the Chargers win this game so that we can knock out one of those wild card opponents or possibilities. Now we need them to lose.
Yeah.
We need them to start losing games now.
Yeah, we do.
So Rivers, come on. Where's that crybaby game that screaming on the sidelines? I want to see that, man. I want to see that.
Hopefully Browns fans take over that stadium this weekend. I just lost all credibility. People are throwing their phones out the window right now. They're like, this guy, I don't need this phone anyways. Yeah, I did just say all of that. But, man, just cross your fingers. You just never know. This year's NFL, you just never know.
Hey.
They
are all in the NFL, right?
Upset of the year, if that happens. Upset of the year.
Anything's possible. There's nothing that's impossible. So if they win, hell yeah, that's I would qualify that as
Kevin Garnett now? Is that who you are? Che Garnett. Anything is possible. Got to do my shout outs now. Shout out to CV Raider, low down in Beijing. Chris in New York, Jumpman 32, Captain Jack, a.k.a. Rude Gruden, Ghost to the Post, who I'm going to see you, and Raider Rockstar out there in KC. Jay Jimenez 79 on Instagram, Raiders Fan Sky or Raiders Fansky, I'm not sure how you pronounce it, also on IG, and Raider Events 365 on Instagram. Raider Events, they do big things. Check them out on IG. Make sure you give them a follow. Really good posts all the time. Just recently followed us too, so sending the love right back at the three of you guys. Having fun with the IG community out there. It's pretty cool. Raider Nation is big on IG. Some of the posts that you see, they're funny, man. They're hilarious.
Hell yeah.
And then there's some OGs on there too, man. You guys have been holding it down for a long time. So, yeah, man, this was a good show. It was a good show.
Good show.
And I got to pat ourselves on the back. Me, you, Raider Kane, and even Chase. We've been saying it for weeks. Are we out of it yet? And we keep saying nope. Well, a lot of you were saying yep.
Yeah.
And look at us now.
Well, we're right here, man. We're definitely not where we want to be.
No.
But we're right here.
Yeah.
And you know what? At this point, you take what you can.
That's it.
So if that means we're all tied up at 6-6 at the end of this week, then I'll take that.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
I'll take it right now. So cheers to you, Raider Nation. Here's to hopefully a big victory and a move towards first place this weekend. And it's been fun talking to you guys here. So that's it for this week's show. Tune in every week on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Stitcher Radio. Call in and leave a message to be played on air at 408-909-PJFF. Don't forget to get dipped in pillaging gear by heading over to pj4f.com/shop. Special shout out to creativemediamonterey.com. Haven't really talked about those boys here in a little bit, but Steve and Tony over there holding it down. You can follow Steve on Instagram, DJ Bad DJ. He's a good follow. You can check out his radio show on KRML if you're local. If not, I do believe you can listen in on their web stream. He does a top 5 show every week. I think that's what his show still is. He was posting his playlist, and he's got, oh man, that guy's a tastemaker. I got to forward that to you so you can see who's on there.
Send it over.
Yeah, it's right up your alley. That's kind of the stuff he plays right up your alley.
Nice.
So check him out. Again, DJ Bad DJ on IG. And Rock Bogner is my man Tony on IG. Not quite as active on there, but he's a funny dude. So you could tell already by the name Rock Bogner, the G is silent. Just let that sink in. Let that sink in. Yeah. Anyways, I'm Kenny Stapler, joined as always by
your boy Chet.
We out here.
Peace.
Touchdown, Raiders! Like a freight train coming, you're blowing the tide.